Fukamushi vs. Sencha is a comparison that it's often made, as these two teas are indeed very similar. Fukamushi Sencha refers to a sencha tea that has been steamed for a longer time, and this leads to differences in the taste, preparation, and health benefits of Fukamushi Sencha vs. Sencha. In this video, we're going to compare these two teas to see what makes them similar, what makes them different, and why you should try each and see which one you like more. Before we get started, it would really mean a lot to us if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned for future tea videos. We have hundreds of videos on all sorts of topics related to Japanese green tea, but for this episode, we're going to focus on Fukamushi Sencha specifically. Without further ado, let's get started. The color of Fukamushi vs. Sencha. If you've ever seen a picture of these super vibrant green teas, it's likely that it's a Fukamushi Sencha. Regular Sencha teas can begin to drift into a greener direction, but they usually tend to be either a shade of yellow or yellowish green. Fukamushi Sencha, on the other hand, can produce a bright, cloudy green infusion, particularly in the second infusion of the tea. What about the flavor of Fukamushi vs. Sencha? Sencha is a broad category of tea when it comes to flavor, and much of that has to do with how the tea is steamed. Short steamed or Asamushi Sencha can take on a milder, slightly drier flavor, and Fukamushi Sencha teas tend to play more on these steamed vegetable notes. Regular steamed sencha or chumushi sencha lies somewhere in the middle, with some of these steamed vegetable or spinach flavors you might get from Fukamushi sencha, and also these fresher, more citrusy flavors you might be used to from short steamed sencha. The brewing of Fukamushi versus Sencha. One difference between Fukamushi Sencha versus Sencha comes down to the brewing of the two teas. Because Fukamushi Sencha tends to have smaller leaf particles, it has a greater relative surface area. This means that the tea can infuse more quickly into the water. To brew a normal sencha, we recommend using 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius and a brewing time of 1 minute. To brew a Fukamushi sencha, we recommend using the same temperature, but this time you can let the leaves brew for just 45 seconds. This is one of the many differences between Fukamushi and Sencha. What about the health benefits between the two teas? When it comes to the health benefits of Fukamushi Sencha versus regular Sencha, the two teas are basically the same, with one exception. During the deep steaming process, the tea leaves are broken down, allowing more of the leaf material to flow into the cup. This means that when you drink Fukamushi tea, you will be getting a higher dose of the compounds within the leaf. An extreme version of this is matcha. Matcha is a powdered tea mixed directly into water. This means that instead of getting just an infusion of the leaf, you're drinking the entire leaf, along with all of its health benefits. When preparing regular sencha with larger leaves, more of these compounds stay inside the teapot and less are extracted into the teacup. This is another major difference between Fukamushi versus Sencha. How does the caffeine content compare between the two teas? Although we have not tested the caffeine levels in each type of sencha, in theory Fukamushi Sencha will also be higher in caffeine. The difference may not be quite as extreme, however. The tea plant produces caffeine on the outside of the tea leaves as a protection against insects. Caffeine can be very bitter and even poisonous to small insects, so it makes as a good defensive layer. Because the caffeine is on the outside of the tea leaf, it can be easily extracted by the water. This would suggest that there won't be quite as much of a disparity in the caffeine content of Fukamushi versus Sencha. So to summarize the difference between the two teas, the longer steaming process is responsible for all of the differences between Fukamushi Sencha versus regular Sencha. This process leads to smaller leaf particles, a more vibrant color, and a more full-bodied flavor. While a few seconds of steaming may not seem like that big of a difference, it contributes to all of the differences between these two teas. If you're interested in trying some Fukamushi Sencha for yourself, we recommend the Murasaki Sencha from Mr. Kawaji. Mr. Kawaji is a talented farmer in southern Japan, and he specializes in the use of these deep steam teas. He produces his teas on a small plot of land in the countryside without the use of pesticides or chemicals. When you order tea from us, you're not only helping to support this YouTube channel, you're also helping us to support the dozens of talented farmers we work with all around Japan. We hope that by sharing these farmers' stories and their teas with people all around the world, we can help to transition the tea industry into a more positive, sustainable direction. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video, and if you have any questions about Fukamushi Sencha or green tea in general, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. Until then, we'll see you next time.